No matter how long you've been drawing, every artist runs into this sooner or later. Art block. Hi, I'm Saskia from Cosmic Creations. I'm a fantasy artist and I know this feeling all too well. The feeling that you want to create but nothing comes out. But when you sit down to draw, it just feels forced and pointless. You just feel uninspired. This happened to me recently, again, and instead of forcing myself through this time, I decided to take a step back and actually observe what was going on with me. And I've actually learned a lot from that. So in this video, I want to talk to you about what art block actually is, what you can do to prevent it, and what to do when you're in the middle of one. And while I talk, I'm going to show you a time lapse of me going over one of my sketches with blue Indian ink. Going over my sketches with ink is always a way for me to reconnect with my art, and it's actually something that I like to do when I'm in the middle of an art block, and I'll explain more about that later. So grab something to drink, sit back and relax, and let's talk about art block. Art block isn't just not feeling inspired, it's more like a disconnect between what you want to create and what you're actually capable of doing in the moment. Sometimes it comes from burnout, sometimes it's self-doubt, and sometimes it's just life being busy and you're just too tired. We often think we have to fix it immediately, like something's wrong with us as artists. But art block can actually be a signal that you've been creating from an empty tank for far too long. I used to see it as a failure. I think, if I can't draw today, maybe I'm not an artist after all. But over time I realized art block is just part of the rhythm. Creativity naturally expands and contracts, and you can't stay in constant creation mode forever. Even the most famous artists take breaks, they just don't always call it that. When I stopped fighting it and started listening to it, I noticed something. Art block often means my mind is full and not empty. It means I've taken in so many ideas, images and expectations that I haven't had the space to process them yet. And sometimes the best thing I can do is step away and let it breathe. There is no magic trick to prevent art block completely, but you can make it less likely to take over. The first thing is to create without pressure. When every drawing feels like it has to be shareable, postable or impressive, you start creating for validation instead of for yourself. That pressure slowly builds into burnout. One thing that really helps is making some of your sketches just for you alone. The art nobody has to see. Sketches that are messy, studies that fail and experiments that don't go anywhere. When you give yourself permission to make bad art, you stay connected to the joy of creating, not the outcome. Another way to prevent art block is to vary your input. If you're always drawing the same things, you'll eventually run out of excitement for them. Try exploring other art forms like photography, music and writing. It will help you put your mind on something else and still be creative. And it can eventually become a source for your art. Creative hobbies and work often overlaps. But also going for a walk and put your mind on something else can help you find new ideas, because inspiration often sneaks up on you where you're not looking for it. And maybe the most important part is rest before you crash. Take small breaks even when things are going well, because when you're already exhausted when the art block hits, it's gonna hit you even harder and it will take longer for you to get out of it. When I'm deep in an art block, the worst thing I can do is force myself to create something big. It just doesn't work. What does work, well, for me at least, is reconnecting with art in a way that feels small and safe. Like I'm doing in this video, going over my older sketches with Indian ink. I love using Indian ink because it's permanent. There's no undo button, no erasing. Once it's down, it's there. That might sound stressful, but for me it's actually freeing, because it removes the perfectionism. If I mess up, it's fine. The drawing was already finished. I'm not trying to improve it. I'm just letting the ink flow and see what happens. There's something meditative about it for me. The feeling of the brush, the way the ink pools and dries, and it makes me slow down. By revisiting old sketches, I'm reminded that creativity doesn't just live in new ideas. Sometimes it's revisiting the past ones with a new perspective. If you're in an art block, try going back through your old sketchbooks. Find a page that's never got finished or a drawing that you liked but never shared. And instead of trying to fix it, play with it. Add color, ink, texture, anything. No rules, no goal, just rediscovery. Another approach that helps is, again, to make your art just for yourself. Don't record it, don't plan to post it, make something private. It's amazing how different it feels when nobody is watching. And remember, inspiration doesn't always return with a bang. Sometimes it creeps back in slowly, line by line, until one day you realize you're creating again without even thinking about it. And if you are in one right now, don't be so hard on yourself. You're not lazy, you're not losing your skills or your talent, you're just recharging. Try revisiting your older sketches or work with a medium that is comforting to you. Maybe that is watercolor or ink or pencils. It doesn't really matter because it is something that is just for you, and make something without any expectations. And I'd love to hear your experience with art blocks, so let me know in the comments how you deal with it so we can learn from each other. And if you want to see more drawing videos or videos in which I talk about art like this one, make sure to subscribe because more is coming very soon. I thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.